Hello, amazing people, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Omoba Damilola, and this is the Diary of a Sickle Cell Warrior. On today's episode of the Diary of a Sickle Cell Warrior, we will be discussing what sickle cell is about, the symptoms, preventions, and I'll also be adding the importance of parents' decisions in the life of a child, especially those with sickle cell anemia disease. Now, last week, I had shared with you the cost of ignorance and how that can shape people's thoughts about a person negatively, and how it can destroy one's self-esteem. So when people perceive you wrongly or ignorantly, then it can affect your self-esteem or the self-esteem of your child. But today, I'll be sharing with you the decisions my sweet mother, my amazing mother, took to shape my life. The decisions she made that moved my self-esteem from minus 200, like I said before, to in fact over 1,000. Now, shortly after finding out about my health status, my mother made some vital moves, very important moves. Part of those moves were to change our place of worship immediately. She changed it because it was a place where they had lied to her, giving her fabrications about what I was or what they thought I was, and all of that. So she changed it and took us to a place where they spoke the true word of God. They explained the love of God to us, and we built healthy relationships. She changed my diet, the clothes I wore, how I lived, and all of that. But first, before all of this, I would like to give a short explanation of what sickle cell anemia really is, so that whoever is watching this can understand what this is. Now, sickle cell anemia is one of a group of inherited disorder known as sickle cell disease. Now, remember I talked about the AS, those who are sickle cell carriers. So when two AS patients marry or meet to give birth, the child could get S from one and S from the other, which leads to sickle cell. Now, it affects the shape of the red blood cells which we carry, and these red blood cells usually carry oxygen for to all parts of the body, and once it's not a full shaped, then there's a problem. I remember teaching this topic about to my year 3 students about how blood gets to the organs. It was quite an interesting topic. We explored a lot. We explored a lot. In fact, one of the kids was so interested that he took it up as his project. So he did it as his portfolio. It was such an amazing time teaching this. So back to my explanation. Now, the red blood cells are usually round and flexible, so they move easily through the blood vessels. But in sickle cell anemia, some of these red blood cells are shaped like sickles or crescent moon. The best explanation is banana shaped. Banana shaped, yeah. So the cells are banana shaped, and these sickle cells also become very rigid and sticky, which can slow down the flow of blood or even block it totally. Now, when this happens is what we now call crisis. That's have bone pains and all of that. The common approach to treating this was using painkillers to reduce the pain and to avoid even more complications. Now, usually the sickle cell symptoms in sickle cell anemia patients usually appear around 6 months. Some less, some even higher. And it varies in different persons. Now, what has the symptoms that one needs to know, to look out for in a person. Typically, the red blood cells usually live for about 120 days, 120 days before they need replacement. But in sickle cell disease, usually it lives up to 10 to 20 days before it dies. So see, 120 days to 10 or 20 days. This now leaves those of us with sickle cell anemia with a shortage of red blood cells, and this is then known as anemia. Now, without enough red blood cells in the body cannot get enough oxygen that it needs, and so this will then make us tired most of the time and weak. Sickle cell breaks apart easily and can cause blockage and cause serious or epic episodes of pain. We usually call it crisis. I'm playing seriously as a child then. My mother will come and shout at me, "Look at you playing like that. After Atobayansi," that's my language. You start shouting, "My bone." Oh my God. Crazy experience. But now, pain develops when red blood cells block the flow through the tiny vessels. We usually have tiny blood vessels that connects to the chest, to the abdomen, and to the joints. So it will block them. The blood, they will not be in flow, and this will cause severe pain. Now, this pain can vary in intensity and can last for a few hours, sometimes days. Some people only have few pain throughout the year, while others while others have a dozen of those pain, which then requires most people to be hospitalized. I've had friends who are most of the time in the hospital, and they have to stay there for a long time. Now, some people with sickle cell anemia also have chronic pain from bone and joint damage and ulcers and other causes. Now, I'll talk of ulcers. That's one of the crazy symptoms, that can happen. And these ulcers usually are the swelling of the hands and the feet. Sickle-shaped red blood cells block blood circulation in the hands and in the feet, which can cause them to swell. Because if you check, for example, the joints here, the hand, if you look at it, they're usually thin, so it's difficult for blood to even get to those areas, and so sometimes it can cause them to swell, and then it will cause severe pains there, and that's what we call ulcer. Last year I had crazy episode of leg ulcers. In fact, it was a mad experience for me, because I think that was the first time I've had that leg ulcer. It resulted to me using crutches, and I was in the hospital almost every month of the year. But thank God I'm doing much better, and I'm trying everything to avoid that, because even the legs at some point got infected. I had to see the surgeon. It was because of the infections, and it was a crazy one for me. This brings me to another symptom, which is infections, because the spleen is what protects us from infection. But in the sickle cell person or disease, the spleen can be damaged very quickly, which now increases the risk of developing infections. Babies and children and sickle cell patients commonly receive vaccination or antibiotics, a lot of antibiotics. I was pumped a lot with a lot of antibiotics last year to prevent potential life-threatening infections such as pneumonia, and also delayed growth in puberty. The red blood cells provide the body with nutrients needed for growth. It's a shortage of healthy red blood cells can slow the growth in babies, in children, and delay puberty in teenagers. I'll talk about that later, because I remember at some point my mother had to go to the doctor to say, my daughter is 16, and she doesn't even have breast yet. Yes, I started to grow breast at 16. Also, another symptom is vision. It can affect the vision. The supply of red blood cells to the eye can be blocked. With sickle cells can be damaged sometimes. The portion of the eye that processes the vision, the visual images called the retina, can be blocked sometimes, and this can lead to vision problems. So back to talking about the importance of parents in your life. When my mom discovered that, she made several changes. Like I said, that she changed her place of worship. It took her some weeks. Every week we went to different churches. There's some churches we would go, say, Mommy, they flogged us. They flogged you. No, we're not going back there. Mommy, they did this. We're not going back there. She just wanted a place where we would hear the true word of God, where the true word of God was being taught. And she wanted a place where there were many enlightened people. And that helped us a lot, because I met God early. I gave my life to Christ quite early, and that helped shape my life, and my clothing. She changed my clothing, the food I ate, my diet, and the weathers. I tried to avoid me staying in the cold and all of those. And I am doing strenuous activities. She withdrew me from lots of strenuous activities that I found myself doing at the time and all of that. So this and many other things are the things that my mom changed, and it helped me a lot, So yes, I hope you've been able to get something from this video, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, so that when things like this come up, you'll be the first to know. And also share to people. There are many people who need to hear this, that have been living in ignorance. They need to hear this and learn how to prevent most of these things. And also write your comments. There are many things that you might be going through, or you have a child or a niece or a relative that has this disease, and how you can help them. So share, so that we can discuss some of these things and we can help each other. Community, it's a community of people, living with the disease, or those who have relatives or friends living with the disease. So until I see you on next time, remain blessed, and see you next episode. I remain again your girl Omoba Damilola, and this is a diary of a sickle cell warrior.